Morning. I hope you can hear me pretty well. My name is Anna, and I'm talking to you from the University of Applied Sciences in Tallinn. Um, this session is about reflection, it's about asking questions to ourselves, really. The title is Key Challenges Faced by Mothers During the Postpartum Period, but the fact is, these questions will depend, or the answers to the questions, and to some extent, the questions will depend on your context, on where you are, what your family situation is, and how you approach the postpartum period, because every experience is different. Still, we believe it is very important that every one of us has got some time, takes some time to just sit down and reflect on how we feel about the situation. There will be several points I will point you to. I will ask you to reflect on. This forum that we are offering here in this website is a safe space for sharing. We emphasize the importance of the postpartum period for both the recovery of the mom and proper development of the baby. Um, there are certain points that the whole environment of a young mom should consider and should realize. And that's what we want to focus on. So, the first question for reflection is, what is your greatest concern or question about the postpartum period? Think about it for a moment. When you have formulated your question, maybe you would like to ask this question on our Facebook account, where there is a group considering various topics, discussing various topics connected with postpartum. Maybe your concern is already there. You might find a number of pieces of advice, personal experiences shared by other mothers. Now, the first frequently very important aspect of postpartum are the physical changes that the body of a young mother goes through. The physical changes go or should go hand in hand with the healing process. It's inevitable that there will be some physical changes to the body. However, there is no reason why you should just let them stay. You may want to address some common issues like some a few extra kilos that you might not be happy about. Um, these issues, again, may be something that will somehow influence your overall well-being in a negative way if you leave them unaddressed. Self-care is extremely important for physical recovery. You need to pay attention to the way you feel, both emotionally and physically, and you should make time to look after yourself, look after your physicality, but also look after your well being. You should also be aware that being lost, being confused and mixed up is something that many mothers go through. And if you feel overwhelmed with the feelings, make sure you ask for medical help. Because if you leave that moment unaddressed, you may end up in depression, and that will be very difficult for you to fight. Act early. Asking for advice does not cost much and does not hurt anybody. Leaving it for who knows when is definitely going to turn out much worse. Now, the question for reflection for this particular topic is, what physical changes have surprised you the most so far? Were they positive or negative? How did you feel about them? Take a moment to reflect. Well, while physical recovery and physical changes are very important because they happen in your body and they concern you primarily, well, emotional and psychological changes are also extremely important and they must not be left unaddressed. Many people talk about postpartum blues, which is a period of being slightly confused, maybe missing the time when you had a moment to yourself and you didn't feel like you were taking the time from somebody else, somebody very important, but not yourself. Well, these postpartum blues, if unaddressed, may change into depression and anxiety and may really ruin the joy of having a child. Make sure you ask for support, for mental support. Your family, your friends are extremely important, but asking for professional support, if you feel you might need it, is something I will again call for. This is extremely important during the first few weeks of the postpartum period. Now, a question for reflection. How do you take care of your emotional well-being? What helps you relax or recharge? Make a list. Come back to it. See how often you have done what relaxes you recently. Take a moment to reflect. Now, a problem that often leaves mothers anxious and worried is breastfeeding, something that often comes naturally, but may be a bit difficult for those who may have had all kinds of difficult beginnings. The common breastfeeding challenges are poor lactation, difficulties in sucking on the part of the child. Well, these common breastfeeding challenges and many others will be addressed in another video. Make sure you have a look. But there is always a possibility of formula feeding or mixed feeding. These options, make sure you know they exist and you make an informed choice whether to go for them or not to go, whether you are able to work out the breastfeeding issues, or maybe there are some reasons why you really want to go for formula feeding or mixed feeding, partly breastfeeding, partly formula feeding. Make sure you also understand that you can get help if you are facing lactation problems and breastfeeding problems from a lactation consultant. They are just a phone call away. Use their help, reach out whenever necessary. Stupid questions are only those that have never been asked. The ones that are asked cannot be considered stupid because they are somebody's realistic problems, real problems. Now, take a moment to reflect on what has been your biggest challenge with feeding your baby. Now, when you have identified your challenge or challenges, where did you look for help? Where are you going to look for help to solve those problems? Again, I will encourage you to reach for other materials in the training, but you can also reach for help in the network. For example, our Facebook group. But don't underestimate the role of your partner, the role of the family surrounding you, and the friends. They each and every single one, they want to help. They just don't know how. So if there is an issue that you think some people might have a solution for, not necessarily certainly have, but they might have a solution, make sure you reach out for that solution. Make sure you get in touch, ask for help. I'm sure you can easily identify who and how and when to ask for help to make it most effective for you. This is a way of building your own support network. You know, if you start discussing things with people, what you can expect from people. Your mom's or grandma's experiences will be different from your friends' experiences, and yet different from your partner's experiences. But all of them may give you an important insight into what you're experiencing yourself and might explain something that you're going through. Still, to find it out, you need to talk to them about it. Therefore, the reflection question here is, who do you feel you can rely on most for support during this time? Take a moment to reflect. Now, make sure you recognize that postpartum period is not just about your understanding your emotions and healing your body. They are very important aspects. But there is something else happening. You're assuming a new identity. You are becoming, or you have already become, a mom. And that's something new. That's something that has not yet happened before. So you need to learn to balance motherhood, which is the new part of yourself, and your self identity that you still want to cherish from time before children. In different cultures, there are different expectations on what a motherhood should look like and what kind of mother you should be. We talked about it in several videos in the previous part of the training. Well, it's up to you whether you want to fulfill those expectations or not. You may want to as well. You may find it natural, but if you feel unwilling to follow these expectations, remember it's your child and it's your life. And you can be the kind of mother you design, you want to be. That's why the reflection questions in this part are about what makes you feel like yourself, what activities, routines help you feel like yourself. What new aspects of yourself have you discovered since becoming a mom? Have they become already normal for you? Or are they still a surprise? And finally, who supports and encourages you to take time for yourself, to manage your identity in an active way? Think about it for a few minutes. Take some time. Well, those changes in your identity will inevitably bring about changes in your relationship with your partner, with your extended family. Um, it's very important to communicate properly with everyone around you, starting with your partner, well, they will happily recognize your new identity if you let them discover it. And you can discover it together by talking about it. Managing extended family dynamics may be difficult during postpartum period, especially if your family has got a habit of appearing on your doorstep very, very often. You may not feel like communicating with them all the time, but do not reject the visits, because you may want to offload some of your responsibilities on the visitors. They may not only help you be yourself, but they might give you the time to be yourself. Take a moment to reflect on the reflection questions. What has changed most in your relationships since becoming a mother? What actions or gestures from your partner or family have been most helpful during this time? What boundaries or adjustments could improve your relationships moving forward? Finally, I could not leave or finish the presentation without pointing at some red flags. These red flags are situations which should really make you alert and should make you ask for professional help. Well, these might be physical complications such as pain, inflammation, so color change, but also secretions. Anything that you find different from what you would expect as a healing process, what you see as the opposite of healing process. Now, the red flags in mental health issues are much more difficult to catch. But if you cannot see beauty in the sunrise, if you are not happy with the simple pleasures that used to make you happy, it's a good idea to ask for help. It may just be a baby blues, but if it persists too long, it definitely will be much more difficult to overcome. Make sure you don't just go for a single consultation. Make sure you visit the specialists several times to be absolutely certain that your situation is improving or is already absolutely perfect. When you are concerned, make sure you talk to people about it. Especially with mental health issues, you may find it difficult to ask for professional help yourself. But if you talk about it to your close ones, they will help you reach out for it, or they might even do it for you. It is absolutely certain they will, but you've got to talk to them. Well, take a moment to think about the reflection questions. Have you felt comfortable discussing concerns with your healthcare provider? What has made you feel most supported during your postpartum care healthcare visits? If you have hesitated to discuss something with your provider, what held you back? What was it that stopped you from discussing the urgent matters or the matters that were simply persistently at the back of your head? Make sure you write down your reflections and maybe put them in the discussion forum in the group, in the social media. Take a moment to reflect on it. Now, this video is not interactive, but the Facebook group is very much interactive. And I do encourage you to actually go there and start discussing your concerns there with other mothers and healthcare professionals who are also affiliated in this group. Thank you very much for persisting with me, and enjoy your motherhood. It's a beautiful period.